Hi, what's up? I'm Andre from the YouTube channel Blattner Comedy, Eddie, the Blue Ranger on Power Rangers Hyperforce, and you're watching Power Rangers Action Activate.
Well, it's me, Mr. Gazbot. Am I a robot? Am I a gas? Am I a cybernetic organism? I don't know, but I'm here for Mr. Action Activate. And if I'm here and Mr. Action Activate's here, well, then you know, Mr.
Hey, it's me, the big Dawg Defender, ready for, today's episode. We had quite the start, which just sets the stage so well.
What, you mean where I put the countdown in the middle instead of going right to the opening credits?
And then we did end credits instead of openers?
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, well, we did. So there we are.
I'm of the opinion that we just go with it. And I'll play the opening credits at the end, unless I forget.
Yeah. But we are on episode 7, the second to last episode before hiatus time.
Oh, wow, that's so crazy.
I know. I was doing a lot of thinking back on this.
Do we know that 100%? I mean, that's a fair assumption, but do we know 100% that it's hiatus?
We do know this, yes.
Okay. Continue.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was doing some thinking back, and there were some episodes of Beast Morphers from the first 8 that we kind of liked. I think the beginning of the season we really enjoyed, and some of the other aspects. But overall, I think this season has a lot of room to grow. And this episode I thought was fine, but didn't knock my socks off.
Okay.
What were your thoughts?
I was thinking about, because I just watched this episode. I didn't have a chance to watch it over the weekend. So I watched it right before we started. So I'm super fresh. And I feel like I'm going to give a hot take that might not be exactly how I feel after we talk about it and might not be extremely fair. I didn't like this episode in general. I didn't hate it, but I was and I was thinking I feel like we've had a few episodes now where I'm and I've talked before about how I had really high hopes for this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like watching this episode, regardless of how good or bad the things were happening on screen, somewhere in my mind and my heart and my soul, the last domino, because I already kind of felt like it's not going to be as good as I wanted it to be, but I feel like I'm just it's definitely, it's just not going to be that good. It's fine.
It's fine. Yep.
It's just not going to be that good. And I mean, again, they could turn it around, but we're 7 episodes in, and at least 3 of them I don't think are great, and the rest I'd have to really analyze. And again, it's better than a lot of seasons out there, but it's I'm not even sure if I like it better than Beast Morphers. I think at this point I still like Beast Morphers better. And I'm not even talking about all the crazy end of the season stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do to temper my expectations, is think of, Beast Morphers, kind of how much we saw at that time, how much we've seen now, and kind of compare the two. Obviously, I like some things from each season better, some things worse, etc. But for the most part, I think this season still has promise. I don't think it's going to be the best season ever. My expectations are tempered there, but I still think it has a lot of room for improvement.
I think there was still, even though I said this last episode of the episode before, I'm I think there's still a small part of me that was no, it could still be great. And I'm it's not going to be great. We're aiming for a B at this point. There's no way we're hitting an A for the series, which
it could. I mean,
no, we could, but that's the kid in school that the first marking period doesn't do well and gets a C-, and then is okay, I'm gonna get A+ the rest of the time, so I'll get an A-. It can happen, but it's I hope I'm wrong, but again, a little part of my hope died with this episode.
Yeah,
and not to say this is the absolute worst episode I've ever seen, but it was just more of the same of not great.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, there's a lot of cool things that could still happen. I know next episode's supposed to be pretty exciting. I think the other thing that's unfortunate that I just kind of took into effect is there's so many shows that you and I are watching right now,
right,
that are just leaps and bounds just better as shows, and it's really hard to throw this in the mix of, oh, it's the weekend, time for a new episode of, and then there's like 3 or 4 things, and it's like, and Power Rangers.
Yeah, I didn't watch it over the weekend, but I get your point. But I'm doing my best to not compare this to WandaVision or whatever other show I happen to be watching.
I'm not comparing show for show, but I'm saying like excitement of a show I like. Overall, good episode. Overall, okay episode. This has been, even with the expectations, more fine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I think I was a little bit more excited for Beast Morphers at this point, and not that they didn't have clunker episodes in the beginning of Beast Morphers too. There was Tommy Tuba episode infamously that you loved so much, but I feel like it's weird because I like the setup with what's Zolan, is that her name? I keep forgetting.
Yes.
I like that it's not a high school thing and it's kind of interesting stuff, and I like the setup, but I feel like the setup was done pretty well, and then it doesn't matter. Whereas I felt like with Beast Morphers, they set up Grid Battle Force, and that kept coming back in different ways that were done in usual, innovative, interesting ways. And I'm not seeing that as much here. Once they had the setup, it's just sort of like, okay, now we have it, let's go, and it's fine. We don't have to worry about it.
The base doesn't really matter. The villain base currently doesn't matter. And Buzz Blast is completely and utterly irrelevant unless we need a change of scenery.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the episode because we're kind of giving our overview, which we're probably going to do more in depth once we hit the hiatus, because then we'll just really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna play this on the side as I like to do, and I'll throw stuff in. But I'll say this: I disliked about the first 5 minutes of this episode.
I didn't love the first 5, but we'll get there.
Well, the first thing I didn't like, and it gets better, but the first thing I didn't like is they're looking for the Stego Zord here, right?
Yeah.
And they say something like, I'm going to get the words wrong, but Javi's not there. They bring back the fart joke, like, oh, his tummy's sometimes rumbling. Fine with that. Okay, little subtle fart joke from last time. But they said, oh, we have the Zord Finder, right? But the Zord Finder only works if the Zord is activated.
Then it's dumb.
So let's find it and activate it. What?
Yeah.
That's like saying, I don't know where my keys are, so let's get in my car and look for my keys. Like, what? I don't know. What? It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
Yeah, that part was kind of dumb. I would have preferred they just tried to find it like the Green Zord and not made a thing about it of, we have this device that would be totally good if it worked.
It makes no sense because, and I understand they want it to be, spoilers, but he's a musician and his music wakes it up. That's what. So they want it to be. Oh, we figured out. But they could have been looking for it. And then he plays his music, and they're like, "Oh, we had a power surge for a minute." I don't know what, but the way they phrased it was literally like, "This doesn't work." It's like, go find it because if you find it, what do you need it for? What do you need it for?
I think here's my silver lining for it. Yeah. They have this here now because Void Knight's going to steal their Zords at some point, or a Zord, and then they can find it because it's awake.
Then bring it out then, because it's.
This is foreshadowing, Gaz. I don't know if you know the storytelling process, but this is foreshadowing future conflict.
It was just a really bad start.
It was not great.
It started bad. So I feel like everything after this, which I also didn't really like for the next few minutes of the episode, was tainted by I'm like, well, that was dumb. And then everything after, I'm like, that's dumb too. This is all dumb.
You got your grumpy reviewer glasses on?
Yeah, I don't know where they are, but here. Oh, and then they disappear. Now they're on. But yeah, so they cut to Javi, who's not there, and well, he's at the music store or he's pooping or whatever she says.
Yeah.
And so when we get to him, though, this is still explaining the stupidity of this thing not working. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we find him, he finally got his keytar. Now,
great. Playing off him wanting a keytar. Cool.
Yes, they followed that up fine. I love, though, here's the thing. Keytars have been around since at least the 80s, maybe 70s early. They're not new. They might not be popular. Maybe not everyone's ever seen one, but I've seen them before. I mean, there was a Ninja Turtle figure with them. Gem and the Holograms had them. They were in popular bands. I don't feel like it's this.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Sure. I don't feel like it's this obscure thing that I think most people have heard of a keytar, even if they don't know what it's called. They've seen a piano thing like that. But even if they haven't, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a keyboard that you hold like a guitar.
Yeah.
And he talked about it. He pulls it out, and it says keytar, and it says it on the box too. And they say keytar about 50,000 times, as though again, even if you're a kid that's never heard of it before, you go, oh, okay, it's like a keyboard guitar. I get it. Like, I was primed to be annoyed, and it just, ugh. So go ahead.
One thing I found funny. So this happens multiple times in the episode, and I noticed I laughed more each time. You and I, a lot of times, will recap events or kind of like make things up for headcanon and just make some noise and just do a lot of ad-libbing. When he was making his beat, I thought of us talking about it, and it was literally burp doop doop derp doop, and it was like I just thought of you making random noise.
Mm-hmm. only the difference is when I make a random noise, everyone in the neighborhood doesn't go, "Whoa, that's the best! Let me stop everything I'm doing and go." Listen, it looks again, Keytar, right there. I've been at the beach, the park, a party, whatever, where somebody pulls out a guitar or a violin or whatever and starts playing. If they are really, really good, like playing amazing, like they should be on Broadway or have a record deal, a couple people will kind of glance over, maybe one person will stop. If they're really good, most of the time everyone's like, oh, this guy, like what are they doing? I thought that was him doodling around like derp, burp, 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 and then he was gonna go like and like blast into something crazy, and everyone go whoa, and then a few people would look or whatever, but it was like and literally there's like four people come on, like, they're running over.
Everybody's just
people dropping their babies.
Heard you play the guitar.
What mystical instrument is this? Do it more. It was so yes, again. And they've had musicians on the show before. And here's the thing. Music is subjective. Not everyone's going to have the same taste. But like they had Antonio and they had what's her name from Dino Thunder. And, but they were all believable musicians. Like they were all like, okay, somebody could like this song. Maybe it won't make the top 100 radio station or whatever. But in a college town, people might see this person play. He's in a park just burp, 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 and it's, it is. It's like I for a minute thought it was going to be a thing where like it had a Sporks tracker on the back or something, like, oh, he could play and everyone loves him, but it sucks up their energy. Like I thought it was a plot because it was so
weird.
And I understand music has like royalties, so they don't want to have him playing like a Foo Fighters song or something somebody would recognize. I don't know why I said Foo Fighters, but like, and no, I'm not even apologize. I say apologize to whoever wrote this because I don't play piano and I could have come up with that. That's my point. It's like any musician could have done any better than that. Like, so I don't know. What was the reason for this? Was there a decision made? Was there a legal reason why they had to have it such a boring little 3-note thing? They couldn't have somebody just put 3 chords together or like a little have him sing over it. Even if it was like, burp, 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 and he went like, I'm the best singer in the, like something, but it's like below average playing that people are treating. We had Levi Weston in Ninja Steel. And he's like, come on. Oh. Anyway,
so I too did not love this scene. So the best part was, this is the kind of episode, in case you don't know already, where we clearly didn't love it, but we're going to get more enjoyment picking it apart than we are recapping kind of the highlights and stuff. So he's jamming out, more power to him. Already, slowly get my score down.
With his hands in his pockets, because that's how you dance too.
With his jorts.
Yeah, I don't even care about the jorts, but hands. Who? Oh, this band's great. That's what he's doing.
Honestly, I've seen that plenty of times.
Really?
I haven't done it, but I've seen it. So
fair.
I officially just hate the J-Borg plot.
Well, she sniffs the sandwich that she found on the ground and realizes it's not a clue because it's rotten meat.
I hate both of them. Like, I just don't like them anymore.
I've been defending them, but it's getting harder.
They're terrible. Like, J-Borg...
I don't think the actors are bad. That's the thing. I think they're both decent, good actors that are just given garbage to work with.
This is the Andrew Gray dilemma that we talked about a while ago. Troy, not a good character. Andrew Gray, good actor. Like...
Yeah. Or at the very least, a charismatic guy.
The other thing that we haven't talked about, why is J-Borg's hair even worse than it was prior?
I don't care. Why is she using that camera? She's at a technology company.
Why does she have a fanny pack? All of this is questions. So
this
anyways,
all stems like this is all stuff that we might point out and be annoyed by. But for me, two things. One, I just watched it, so I'm literally like, this just happened. It's not like we're usually like there's a few days where I could think about it and see the end of the episode. It's that's part of it, and the other part is that it started bad. It started with that terrible machine that didn't work, and I'm like, usually there'll be a bad thing and then a good thing and then a bad thing. Like it's just bad, 5 bad things in a row, and it just.
And then it just gets worse.
Yeah.
So they're recording him because they're like, we love music, and now I'm gonna freestyle rap.
And all the birds ran away because Jay Borg sang like an opera note that they didn't like.
Sure.
But proving that they aren't the least likable characters in the show.
Dude, oh my! Write him off. Give him an off-screen death. He is the worst character I can possibly think of that isn't inherently bad on any season.
Another one that I have defended, and I cannot like Jay Borg and Jane. I still a little bit defend him. I can't defend at all.
He's literally the worst.
He's just a jerk all the time about
like the
everything.
Words that I want to use to describe him do not fit the action activate aesthetic.
Agreed.
He is just absolute pile of.
So he comes in and he's like, "Stop your horrible singing because the birds are flying away." And also, what is this garbage keytar? How did you buy this? He's like, "I have a job. I have my own money," which is good. He's being responsible. Yeah. Well, too bad. I'm taking it anyway. Like, what? You're just gonna take it and then
you spent $900. What are you, a moron? Like,
right. And then he's like, you were playing the flute and these other instruments, and he's like, yeah, I'm a musician. I like to try a lot of different music instruments. It's a normal thing. And he's like, oh, forget. Like, yeah, it's just. And he's so angry too. He's not even like, hey, man.
And this is the thing. I saw this part, and we're slightly jumping around just because this review doesn't matter anymore. So, right here, he's
this
like,
review might be coming out kind of late, but at least we're angry.
Hey, right? So right now, I'm like, wow, he's pretty terrible. I can't possibly think of what could happen to make him worse. And then,
it gets
guess
worse.
what, y'all? Dino Fury!
And this is building on the episode, because remember, he's Izzy's father as well. And this is building on him giving her this weird competitive drive. If you're not first, you're last, or whatever he said. Like that's Ricky Bobby. It was like, he's like, if they don't come in first, how do they know you're best or whatever? And they go through this whole character arc where she's supposed to like, okay, well, this obviously came from him. And then he's like, oh, I'm glad you did the right thing, but next time you better win. And it's like, what? So you're still, okay. Sure? So it seems like he likes her better, but he's a jerk to everybody, to both his kids, to everyone that comes in the park, to everybody. He's just.
If I had a time machine and I used it for a menial reason, it would be to go back 2 years ago and go, hey, Big Dog, I need a one shot really quick.
Okay. Hold on. Go ahead.
It'd be, hey, Big Dog, I know you're watching this brand new Power Ranger season called Beast Morphers, and there's this Blue Ranger on there, Ravi, that you're not a fan of. And you're like, how could this character frustrate me so much? Don't you worry. It gets worse. Ravi isn't that bad. Appreciate him for what he does and who he is. Just, accept it. Like, he's not bad. Wait till next season. Just
I would say though that wouldn't a more fair comparison be to the chief, the Ravi's mother? I forget her character's name.
Oh, the commander.
Yeah, because you didn't like her, and she was a little bit of a jerk. But
she was
not like this
of jerk. This is she was a gas station candy, and this is Costco. All right, we're buying jerk in bulk when it comes to Ravi, or not Ravi. When it comes to Javi and Izzy's dad, he is just the worst. I really hope something bad happens to him.
You know what's crazy? I think he's worse than Trent's dad. From Dino Thunder.
Yeah, somehow.
Because Trent's dad, he had this evil within him, but you believed he loved his son. He was a good guy trapped in this horrible situation and trying to do his best and make a bad decision.
Wes's dad from Time Force, same thing.
Yeah. Like
greedy greed monster. Still not as bad.
But this guy's sort of like, hey, he should be a good guy. He's like, I am a park ranger. I care about the environment and animals and people having a good time, and I love my kids. Yet somehow I'm a bigger
jerk. I hate
jerk.
my kids.
I'm a bigger jerk than the ones that like were actual villains.
Yeah, he's become more like evil than a character named Void Knight. He's had more screen time and more evil done to the Rangers than Void Knight.
Again, jumping ahead, Boom Tower steals the sporks from Void Knight, which is probably the worst thing you could do to avoid, because that's his whole plan. And we see it off screen, but he's like, "He let me keep it, and I'm going to attack you." It's like, I guess he got over it. Like, but yet at the end,
how forgiving of him.
He didn't get his keytar back. His friends bought him the new one, but it's like, yeah, Void Knight is a better dad.
Yeah, that was the other thing too, is when they brought out that keytar. Once again, we're jumping around because this is just we're just on a roll here, guys and gals. So when they give him the keytar at the end, I'm like, oh, I guess they got it back from the dad. No, they just bought a $900 keytar because the dad's the worst and has it somewhere and pawned it or returned it and kept the money.
Or they just bought a whole new one. Maybe because presumably you could just buy it at the store, I guess, if it's like, but
no, I'm saying they bought him a new one, but the dad somehow either kept it, destroyed it, returned it, kept the money, never gave it back. Who knows?
The implication would be that he would give the money back to his son, but then he might not, because he might be one of those fathers like, "You're just going to waste it on more music. Why would I give it to you?" It's
just the worst. I wish bad things upon him in the show.
And I keep thinking, supposedly he was originally written as a police officer, but that doesn't fix it. It
would have made it worse.
That would have made it worse. Yeah. That explains why he's in certain situations or has like this authority that like a park ranger wouldn't normally have. But I also imagine only for the first few episodes, and then they changed it or whatever. But like that doesn't, if he was just it doesn't explain.
We have spent way too much time about this awful scene. So now,
I like
Javi is sulking. Here. Izzy is like, "Hey, did you poop your pants again?" "No, I'm really bummed out about the guitar." "Oh, thank God. What can I help you with, bro?" Her dialogue, it frustrates me because it just is too pandering.
I disagree. She was the most interesting character in this entire episode.
In general, I don't like how I feel like I understand how her character is, and then they throw in certain words or phrases that they're like, "She's young and hip."
Like, give me an example.
"What are you doing over there, bro?"
But it is her brother.
I know, but
if it wasn't her brother, I would bristle as well. But
hey, what are you doing there, boomer? Like, they just, it's like they Mad Lib her lines.
I can see what you're saying, but I still, it's funny because I started off liking Blue the best, and he's kind of faded to the background.
With a bucket on his head.
Yeah, I still like the character, but like we haven't seen him do much lately.
Yeah.
Red has been growing on me. But Green, like I started off really liking her, and she stayed more or less constant. You're right that there's some dopey stuff she says, but and especially in this episode, even though it's a Javi episode, and no offense to the actor, but Javi's boring. He hasn't done anything interesting. He sulked a little bit, and he wants to play music. This is supposed to be a focus episode.
He jams on his guitar and his flute.
It makes me feel bad for him, but it doesn't tell me who he is other than someone that has a bad father, which we already kind of knew for Izzy. So, yeah, I don't know. But. Yes, Izzy isn't perfectly written in this episode, but she's the only one I found interesting in an otherwise not that interesting episode. For example, I do like the joke where the Boom Tower says something about stretching, and she's like, "Oh yeah, oh no, warm him up." Says, "Go, what are the putties called in this? I forget."
Henchman,
go warm him up. And she's like, "Oh, good. You should always warm up before a fight." Actually, I have it on the closed caption. I'd hate for you to pull a muscle or because you're not ready or whatever. Is that the greatest joke in the world? No. But it builds on a few things. It builds on the fact that she's an athlete, so it's actually like a factual thing she would know. And it builds on the fact she makes jokes. And it builds on this sort of mini rivalry with them and Boom Tower where she's like already made jokes at his expense in the past. Yeah. So like weirdly, this scene was my favorite part of the whole episode. Because it made sense. I
can see that. Yeah. No, like that, I agree with her character. It's when there's certain words or phrases that I think the direction she's given is emphasize this for the kids. And to me, it like takes away from her character.
I guess, but
I loved this morph, by the way.
Me too. Watch her, how hard she winds up and slams the ground. It's
yeah. I watched this hard, yeah.
Like I had to go back and watch. He does a good job too, but she's doing some other level.
She's just chewing the scenery.
She's she's in danger of becoming my favorite on the show. I know we're 7 episodes in and I'm already flipping all over the place, but despite everything you said, which you made some good points, I don't know. She's in danger of becoming my favorite.
I'm not saying I don't like her. I'm saying I don't like when the writers give her things that don't fit her character, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree.
Good fight overall.
Yeah.
Get some good sword play.
Yeah.
This and that.
The other guys show up and have they all start busting out with I forget what power ups. It doesn't matter.
Infinite power ups.
Yeah,
meaning. Yeah.
And this is like, here's the thing. It no longer bothers me, but I also don't care.
Yeah.
It's not exciting. It's just like, oh, every member of the team can use any power up, and they have so many. It doesn't like it would. This is gonna sound weird, but like I've watched Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or any kind of thing like that. And when they have these crazy power-ups and things, like what makes it interesting, because they're going to eventually win because they have so much stuff. And this is what I think would have been good. And this might be Sentai's fault, so what are you going to do? But what would have made it good is if they're fighting and it's not working and it's like, okay, I'm going to use the speed attack. It's like, I expected that. Like, but listen, when you use speed, I'm going to use the sandstone that'll grind, come up with something. So you it looks like they lost. And they're like, ha, you didn't realize that we did and that's a teamwork thing too, but it just seems like they all grab a random power up and then just use it immediately. And it's
the thing with power ups in Power Rangers is there's two rules of thought that I like for them.
Okay.
And this also kind of, like you say, goes into anime sometimes too.
This was cool when he powered up, I will say.
Yeah, this was cool, the red effects and everything. You got to earn them, and then you can use them whenever, but it's not just like handed to you. Or kind of like in Dragon Ball, the Kaioken attack, he gets crazy strong, but then there's a huge drawback at the end where like all of his energy is zapped. Yeah. Or like with this, where it's like we use this power up, but now we demorphed, and now man, hopefully it worked. Right here we see Javi using the shield. He's protecting his sister. Yeah, that's all cool and stuff. She runs and tries to do an attack.
I will say, I forgot. They literally did exactly what I was saying there.
Yes.
He's like, I'll hold him. You get ready to go. It was a tiny version of what I would like to see more of, to be fair. But it also would have been good if it was premeditated. Like, listen, when we go into the fight, I'll pick this, you pick that. But credit where credit's due. That is, I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah. Then Izzy ends up hurting her arm really bad. Yeah. Everybody's demorphed. Boom Tower goes, yep, I am officially stomping y'all later.
But then Void Knight shows up, and it proves that he is very short-sighted. Yeah. Because Boom Tower stole the Sporix, got powered up, injured one Ranger bad enough to make him leave the fight. And then the other one, so two Rangers are out effectively. And he was winning. And there's only 3 left. And Void Knight's like, come with me. And then he's like, Henchman, you take care of him. So like you stop, no matter how mad you are, he's doing what you want to be done. And you stopped him, which contradicts what I was saying before, because I was making a comedic point about him being a good father and like letting him keep. But like later, and I feel like I wanted to see that scene. There was a scene cut, I think. Yeah. And where he lets him keep the Sporix and he comes back and he fights, whatever. But like, if he's going to let him keep it and he wants him to destroy the Power Rangers, he should have just let him destroy the Power Rangers. Then he gets back to base and then kill him or whatever punishment he thinks. But like super short-sighted of Void Knight there. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
But I do like good.
Oh, go for it.
But I do like that we then get a civilian fight out of it, because we haven't seen one of those in a while.
I was going to comment on that as well. Hopefully we get a payoff later of why it's so important that he uses these Sporix to fuel something, but did like the civilian fight.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I mean, to be honest, I forgot some of this just because of what comes next. Like, just drew me so much out of the episode.
Yeah.
But really cool effects. Honestly, it made me like really reappreciate what we saw in Beast Morphers, because we saw it a ton.
Yes,
I mean, me too. Really
good. And that's again a reason why I was like, oh yeah, they used to do this a lot, and I like this, and like it's well done. The cameras are moving and stuff. But then you're right. Then all of a sudden we get here. Again, here's Garcia on the spot. He's always
randomly shows up,
always there, and he's such a jerk.
He is. Oh, what happened? There was a monster attack. Oh, you're a terrible brother because your sister is injured, and then leaves. And I honestly thought he was going to leave Javi there, and you would have to like walk home. But then he gets in the car too, and it's like added insult to injury for me. I'd almost prefer he just went full blown jerk and didn't even bother transporting
him. Try hard. Yeah, it's terrible. Oh, it's so bad because he's upset. He's worried about his daughter. And it could be that thing of like, he's like, what happened? Oh, sorry. I know it's not your fault. Like, you're allowed to have that initial emotion. Like there's a thing when people are trying to be better people in whatever ways. Like, you can't control your first impulse. You can't control your first thought, but you can control how you go forward from there. So you could be a jerk for a second and then kind of catch yourself, and that's forgivable. But he's, and so what did he say? He says, the Black Ranger saved us. We were attacked by a monster. And he's like, oh, but she got hurt. And then he says something, and he does say, like, I tried to help her, and she's obviously there. He didn't like run away like a coward or something. And he's like, you didn't try hard enough. Why aren't you hurt? And it's like, So if Izzy had a broken arm, or I'm sorry, if Javi had a broken arm too, would that be okay? Or would he be like,
everything about it's awful. Just
it's
write
terrible.
him out of the show.
And again, spoilers, by the end of the episode, there's no resolution there. There's no, and here's the thing. I'll say I like this. I don't like this character. He's a jerk. But I like that they're allowing Rangers to have not perfect families.
Yeah.
They have this father, and we had that with Wes and stuff too. But like for the most part, they're perfect, or it's a huge plot point that involves the main thing or whatever. But this just seems like this could be anybody's dad that is just kind of a jerk. And yeah, he works and he loves you and stuff, but he's just kind of a jerk. And it makes it hard on his kids. And so for that, I do appreciate it, because it's a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're going to try to make us like this character at some point, and I don't feel they're going to do it. Yeah, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's so funny because there's so many things that we apologize for where it's like, oh, well, it's Power Rangers where they have to do fart humor and they have to do this and J-Borg has to be and like all this. And then it's like, I don't care what audience this is. This is a despicable character, and I don't know how you think this is like fine to write them as, unless they are like a true evil that we find out later.
Or again, if they lean into the message of like, my friends are the family I choose, and they're going to be there for me, and you know what, maybe my father isn't that great, but you guys are, like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine. But then they got to really lean into that and make that be. Otherwise, it's just making us, like I said, the main thing I got out of this is I feel bad for Javi and Izzy, but Javi more, because clearly Izzy's he's a jerk to both of them, but Izzy's like the good girl that's like the winner of the races, and Javi's just this idiot that wants to play music. So So before we had said they kind of copied the Javi Ravi thing with the parent and all that, but no, it's way worse.
Yeah, they're like, let's just dial up the darkness. So now we're back at base, and Solon's like, oh, look what's viral on the internet, because I figured out the internet in 3 weeks.
Well, here's what I think. I think Zolan has a thing for Javi, and she was searching his name, because how do you just randomly find that video? No matter how viral it is, there are viral videos every day. You don't just see every one of like somebody you know what I mean? So I think she's like, oh, what's my cute little human boyfriend doing? Oh, there he is. Like, she must have been like.
The way I thought about this is because J-Borg was there recording.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this was reposted on BuzzBlast.
It was reposted on BuzzBlast. It actually says it right on the screen. Let me back it up.
Oh, then that's why she just follows BuzzBlast, because they all work there.
Okay, fair enough. But what's interesting is J-Borg was there with Jane with the camera, and this is not them. This was somebody else. I know. Which is like also weird. Like Jane, J-Borg, whatever. But Jane has been a little bit of an inconsistent character, where she started off as like a no-nonsense businesswoman.
A boss lady.
Yeah, and we got to get views and stuff. And now she's like, oh boy, I like to rap too. It's okay, J-Borg, you just try your best.
Look at this sandwich.
Look at this sandwich. We don't need to film this guy. Let somebody else film it, even though, she's flipping and flopping a little bit there. Like it's very odd. I don't know, maybe you decided like 2 episodes in to change your character, but there was no explanation for it.
So they all watch the video and they're like, wow, that dad is a weenie.
Yeah.
He's just the worst. And then Javi shows up and they're like, oh, we get it. You didn't poop your pants. You were really just bummed out about this video.
Yes. But they do say, oh, for a minute, the Black Zord showed up and then it disappeared. And he's like, okay, who cares? I'm in a bad mood, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and then, oh my gosh, what's Blue's name? Ollie. Ollie's like, oh, wait, maybe it's because you played your music, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of figured, and Zolan's, yeah.
He's like, you mean my pocket flute?
Also, did you notice his flute? He is the Black Ranger, but his flute has a little green piece.
That's kind of
cool. I feel like that has to be a nod to Tommy.
Oh, no, I figured his sister.
Why his sister?
Because she's the Green Ranger.
Right, but he's playing a flute to summon his Zord.
I don't think that was a nod to Tommy. I think it was more like his sister got it for him as a gift to, show that she cares about his passion.
Wouldn't she buy him a black one because she's the Black Ranger?
Nope, she bought a green one, gave it to him.
Wait, but this is also, she would have bought it a while ago before either of them were Rangers.
Yeah, but everybody just happens to wear colors.
Comment down below. Is it because she's the Green Ranger? Is it a nod to Tommy, or does it mean nothing and we're idiots?
3.
I don't know, because everything's so color coded. The fact that it wasn't black, I noticed.
Yeah.
But yeah, he plays, and of course it shows up, and they're right. And so the other 3 Rangers, Boom Tower, they get a call on the Ranger hotline, which again I do like. And the voice on it says something like, "Rangers, we need your help." Really reminded me of Alpha. I don't think it was supposed to be Alpha, but it was like a high-pitched voice, and the words they used, "the Rangers, we need your help," really reminded me of that.
I think it was supposed to be J-Borg.
It did sound like J-Borg a little bit too. Maybe it was the same actress, but we never see J-Borg there. We never see. Yeah. Again, maybe it's another cut scene or something, but that would make more sense because J-Borg reminds me of Alpha too.
I realize also J-Borg might have a different haircut from when she electrocuted herself and then like it fried and she had to cut it or something.
An excellent headcanon. I guarantee you put more thought into it than they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So the three of them go to fight Boom Tower, and he's immediately big, and he explains how he had the sporks back and all. And again, like off-camera stuff, we didn't really need to see that conversation. I agree.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to, because again, that to me was a little bit more interesting than some other stuff going on. But this is weird too. They're like, "How can we beat him?" Well, they make a joke about, yes, he can see us fine, whatever. But how can we beat him? It's like, well, clearly you're going to make the Megazord. You may or not. Like, they make it seem like he's huge. What could we do? Like, what? Like, I mean, we're episode 7 now, and you knew about Megazords. Okay, fine, whatever.
It was interesting that, and I didn't realize this until the end. They just kind of wrote Izzy out of the rest of this episode.
Well, she was hurt. She had a busted arm or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, we didn't see her in the hospital. Like, oh, I wish I could help, but I'm looking on the news, and like we've seen that plenty of times in Power Rangers. But it was just like she's just not there.
This episode, the one thing I can't say negative about it, it is not slow paced. It does not drag. There's a lot going on, and so I think they just didn't have time. And like I mean, they didn't show a conversation in the villain's cave, the villain's cave, sure. And they didn't show Izzy in the hospital, and like there's a lot of stuff they didn't show. They didn't show him making up with his dad, or even like his dad being like,
because that's never gonna happen.
Well, no, but even like him getting home and his dad just harumphing or something. Like there's a lot of stuff that wasn't followed up on because there's so much going on in this episode. So
they're just building the tension.
But my point is, I think it's fine they didn't show Izzy in the hospital. Like I said, the one thing this episode had going for it was the pacing was very quick. So that didn't bother me. And I don't think they, I kind
of like the lightning on his shirt, by the way.
It has what's this? There's a symbol in the middle too. I forget what it is.
I don't know. I can't see it.
I can't see it either. It's like a key or something.
Hey, I played my flute and my Zord's here. Cool. Gets his Zord. Yay. Let's join the team.
Says like, hey, Zordy, here, Zord, which is a kind of a tired trope that I'm tired of.
Yeah.
Like it was a joke, in the 70s or the 80s, whenever it first happened, where people would like use like calling a dog for something serious or a ghost or a monster or something. But it's not, again, this isn't a Power Rangers thing. This is a all media I consume thing. Like I don't ever need to see that joke again.
Yep.
The Stegosaurus Zord comes, he's CGI, not the best, not the worst, but then it's like, I do like these Dutch angles they're doing, kind of reminds me of old Star Trek, and it's like, whoa, like that's kind of cool with the not defeated Zord, but the in trouble Zord.
They make their initial combination, if I remember correctly, with Red in charge. Then
this is like kind of what I think of as the standard. The three.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you got a new Zord. Let's try them on out. All right, cool. Get a cool sequence with it. Like I really like these of them doing the new formation. Very cool. And then
I like this.
Kind of find out like his thing is he has like a hammer or like a boxing.
He's got like a heavy shield in the front, which they already had a shield, but it's like Stegosaurus isn't. Like they have a couple dinosaurs that are, because Triceratops is known for shield and Kylosaurus is known for shield. Stegosaurus has the plates, but I guess they have different ways of doing it, different attacks. But he does this like double shield thing in front, which I guess is his specialty.
And once again, whoever is piloting, quote unquote, the Zord, put them in front. I don't know why we got to be.
I kind of do. I do like this. I like the black head. I like this configuration. It's kind of cool. I love the ambiance of this Zord battle.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the dusk.
It's beautiful. It's so good. It bothers me because I feel like this should be like way later in the series, like more of a
climactic battle. Yeah.
And I actually thought this would be the end of Boom Tower because it looked so like I thought, oh, he's not going to get small. He's going to be gone. But no, he does get small. But and I wish they put a tint on the cockpit too. Yeah. Because we cut back to the cockpit and it's just so clean and perfect. And it's just like,
he does this
really cool.
I'm gonna shoot thing, and then they're like, oh, let's
Stop it up with
fire the spikes and
Yeah.
like that. I didn't mind as much the other time. But the thing that I found funny, once again, going back to being self-gratifying, is bring in the Dino Fury Saber, ready and make a punch. And they just like make something up that like doesn't seem to fit their kind of motif, and I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, but what I
Dino
do like,
Fury, make a punch.
but right after that, he says, "You think that's enough to stop me?" Oh, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was really funny. But I wanted him to be gone. And now that here's the thing: I like the character of Boomtower. I like his voice. I like his attitude. I like his design. Maybe if they rebuilt him or brought him back or whatever, but like it just felt like he should have died there. He should have been destroyed, at least for a while. Here's another question: they teleport away. Where's the Sporix?
Yep, I know. That bugged me too.
Did it get used up? Is it destroyed? Did he get to keep it? Like, yeah, I did.
I'm assuming he still has it and it's like depowered.
I'm assuming that too. But again, I felt that needed a line of dialogue of like, well, I guess he took it with him or whatever. I feel like at this point we're almost doing a normal review.
Almost.
Like we started off, me more than you,
off the rails,
just ranting and raving. But that was my experience with this show. This episode, I should say. The first 5 minutes, I'm just like, this is horrible. They don't know how to make TV anymore. What's going on? This is bad. That's bad on top of that. This is another bad thing. And then it became kind of an average episode. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. But like the first 5 minutes is some of the worst, certainly the worst of Dino Fury, probably the worst of Beast Mode. Like it's just bad. It's just like concentrated. Yeah. 5 minutes of bad. It's so weird.
It was the sandwich.
The sandwich.
We saw the sandwich and we're like, hey, episode 7. What is this? Oh, wow. It's rotten.
Yeah.
There's rotting, festering things in this.
Yeah.
So, anywho.
But so they get back and I don't remember what they're doing here.
Oh, they were checking on Izzy. They give him a keytar.
They all chipped in for, which is impressive. For any of $900 is a lot for any of them, like to be honest, but that's like a great gift for them to chip in and give.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. So they're a Buzz Blast, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were at the hospital because she popped out of nowhere. Apparently, Buzz Blast does everything.
Yeah, Buzz Blast.
They realized there. Yeah, they're at Buzz Blast. 3 of them work there, or at least 2 of them.
Well, Javi and Pink.
Amelia.
Amelia, that's it.
I thought Izzy or Ollie might have.
Doesn't matter. I don't think he does, but yeah. But
anyways,
so they're like, hey, can you play us a tune? And whatever little bit of forgiveness I would give of like, okay, when he picked it up the first time, he's a musician, but he had never played a guitar. So he's just kind of like bunk, 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 trying to figure it out. And people are idiots and they think it's
pause.
Amazing.
Wait, scroll back a little bit.
Okay, hold on.
Here. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. I'll tell you when to pause it. Keep playing. Keep playing. Keep playing. And pause.
Yes.
There we go. That
is gold.
There's a nugget in this scene. It's him just being like, I am an alien who's 65 million years old, not sure what's going on. Here's the thing that's super unfortunate about this. I appreciate this. I think the actor did very well for this. Yeah. It's, once again, to what I said before, very inconvenient that one of the greatest awkward dance scenes I've seen released a week earlier on a different show.
What show?
Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh, I'm not caught up.
Oh, well, there's an awkward dance scene that's memed hard right now.
I will say this. I think this is great. The look on his face, everything about it is great. I didn't even notice this the first time because they panned by so quick. I missed that.
I 100% noticed it.
No, and I'm glad you pointed it out because I absolutely missed it. Up to now, it's the same as before. He's playing some terrible music and everybody's an idiot and thinks it's great. Then she comes in and again, it's like she's a different character from the beginning.
Yeah, record scratches. What's going on? I love dance. And it's like, stop.
Well, and the other thing is, J-Borg was like, I have the ability to sing or whatever, but not dance. Like she was like, I am not programmed for dancing. And they're like, oh, well, that doesn't matter. You can do it. So it's also like inconsistency. Like, can you only do what you're programmed to do? No. Okay. And then she starts doing this cartoony thing and she spins her head and becomes a drill. Yeah, I hate it too. The fact that she's a robot makes it better because, again, I think of Victor and Monty or Ben and Betty to a lesser extent doing things like this that make zero sense. At least she's a robot. It still doesn't really make sense. And then they're like, oh, Waterman. He's like, I do not know what your teens are talking about. I need a translator. What's this word? Like, no, like a Waterman. And the water comes up and I'm like, oh my God. And everybody laughs. Everybody laughs, including the person who runs this technology company that, like, what? Won't this
and credits? Yeah,
this will ruin your work day. Like even if some people thought it was funny, it seems like a pretty serious thing when water main is disrupted. Like the city's gonna have to be called in. And again, I know I'm overthinking it, but like the one that really gets to me is Jane, who either owns the company or is the CEO or whatever. Like it's a technology company, so A, there's a lot of things that could be destroyed by water, and B, it runs on being cutting edge. Like we found this meme first, we found this viral video first, and everybody's now going to be a day behind. So like she should be very upset.
I hate it.
It started horrible. It did okay in the middle and it ended not very good. I give this episode a D. I think
I'm going to go with you on a D.
Yeah. Like it's
I was
weird.
trying to give it a C- and I can't. I
forgot the bad ending too, but like it's arguably you could say it's like a C episode because it's like okay in the middle, but like that beginning, it's just so like, they say like it had a really strong beginning. It had such a weak beginning, like so bad.
I think it's a C if you take out the horrible slapstick at the end and how much of a jerk, not once, but twice their dad is. If you take that out, it's a C.
The beginning still kills it for me. The dad being a jerk makes me dislike the dad, but it doesn't ruin the episode for me because it's like, okay, well, I'm sympathetic toward the Ranger or whatever. It's the because it's like if I had never seen Power Rangers before and I watched the first 5 minutes, I'd be like, why would this is terrible? Why would like it's just I would turn it off, like so and yeah, this is probably the most negative I've been definitely for this season, but maybe
it is
ever. On a current season anyway. Maybe some of the older ones we joked around.
There might be a Beast Morphers episode where
you were. I don't know, but
yeah.
And I think part of it is exactly what I said. It was a bunch of bad things lined up in a row, and part of it is that like I just watched it, so it's like I'm like super hot, like right in my mind right now.
The thing, sorry, one thing I want to make note of is so many times we talk about this and. At least it's happened a lot more for me than for you. But a lot of times in the comments, people are like, Big Dog, I don't get why you're so negative about this. Like, I enjoy this. That's great. If you enjoyed it, awesome. You win. For me, and now to Gazbot for this episode, there's so much potential and so many things we like. And it's so much more upsetting and we get more fired up when it's clearly just squandered because someone doesn't care.
Yeah, and we don't know who doesn't care, which is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never advocating to poop on an actor or a writer or director because, like, you don't know. It could be a great actor that cares, with a great writer that cares, and a great director that cares. Maybe the producer is like, I don't care. You get 2 minutes to write it. Or maybe the producer cares, but then the director has never seen Power Rangers and just got called in at the last second. We don't know. We don't know where the failing comes, but it is. There's a difference between being ambitious and failing and not caring and failing. And sometimes you could tell. Yeah.
This seemed more the lack of effort, not making it versus, trying something and it falling short. Like I think there's an example of that we talked about for a Beast Morphers episode or two where like they tried something and like for you it was okay, for me it didn't land, but it was like, hey, this is different, whatever.
They're trying. Yeah. Try and fail. Great. Don't try and fail. Like what?
Yeah, like it's a thing where I know there's a formula for the show. And
we're almost an hour.
I know. There's a formula for the show, and the thing that gets me now is Power Rangers started as a toy commercial. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. You're not even doing that part great. So if you have a bad story and you're not a good toy commercial, then you're just wasting space, in my opinion. And that's what's frustrating. I'm like, you look at some of the old Mighty Morphin episodes. Hey, we got this power up. By the way, the toy's out. None of this is relevant. One of the favorite things of Gazbot and I from Beast Morphers is that Beast X Megazord that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Rant over. Sorry.
Yeah. And we haven't gotten all the Beast Morphers characters in Lightning.
Exactly.
And weirdly, no Dino Fury either. There was the Fan Friday thing. They didn't even announce a Red. That really surprised me.
Oh, side note for news, there was a Fan Friday thing, and if you want that information, we're not covering it. People did it better. Look it up.
Yeah, but it was disappointing. I'll say that.
Yeah, I was really stoked on the Red Century figure.
Yeah,
other than that,
but there was. Well, it was disappointing because there wasn't even a lot of news. It was like it's going to be big for Power Rangers. At least there wasn't much.
They said in 2 weeks we're going to find out who the Gold Ranger is, and here it is, and that was about it.
Which is kind of annoying because presumably he's going to show up next episode. Like it would be more exciting to see him show up in the episode than to see the actor go, "Hey, it's me." Whatever. Anyway, I still like Power Rangers.
I do too,
believe it or not. And I have been Gazbot.
I am still the ever grouchy but still caring Big Dawg Defender.
And
to the power.
The power.
See you guys later.
All right, opening credits.
Here we come. There they go.
I had no idea.
People rise. 'Cause they know. We're super
Words have no meaning on an episode with 2 guitar scenes.
You see our pose.
Tension.
I'm just gonna turn it off. What'd you say?
I couldn't hear you either. I thought you could hear me, but I couldn't hear
said,
you.
We're done. We're done. This is the after the credits talk. I was just saying I had no idea I was going to get that fired up about this.
My expectations are always just ready to roll at all times.
I realized, I think the last time I was this animated, although it maybe not, was we did a Ninja Steel review where there was like the old woman on the roof. Like that was the last time I think I got this fired up.
It was with the Sheriff Skyfire.
And she's like, I gotta get to my car. And it's like, boom, boom, blang, blang. Yeah, but that was more funny. Like, this is ridiculous. Whereas this time I'm actually like
upset.
Yeah, upset. But anyway, we're done. Goodbye.